As you are taking EDU 216, you are an aspiring educator looking towards the future. But being an effective teacher of tomorrow means also looking back to our common educational roots. And one major person and event in yesterday that helps us to understand today is Horace Mann and the beginning of the common schools. Known as an innovator and also a leader, Horace Mann is probably best known for making the concept of government funded universal education into a reality. Three key points that we're going to cover are: number one, Mann built upon the foundation of great reformers. Two, the common school movement was the logical answer to creating an equal society through education. And three, that Mann's legacy still has an impact today. So we see that Mann built upon the reformers and great thinkers of the past, beginning with Martin Luther. Martin Luther proposed that education should be free to all individuals so they could all be literate. John Calvin, with his 1647 Old Deluder Satan Act, required that large towns hire teachers and establish schools. Thomas Jefferson, with his bill for the more general diffusion of knowledge, believed that individuals should be able to advance through hard work and education rather than simply being born into a rich family. Which leads us to Horace Mann, when he became Secretary of Education of Massachusetts, saw the need for better schools being free for all children, which leads us to the common school movement, born out of these continuing efforts of all of these great thinkers. So we can see that common schools, point number two, is the logical answer. As we move from the 1647 Old Deluder Satan Act to the 1785 Northwest Ordinances to Horace Mann in 1827 entering the political field, and in 1837 being appointed the Secretary of the Massachusetts Board of Education, during which the same year he went out and reviewed schools, and he found them to be overcrowded, staffed with inferior teachers, using outdated resources. And Horace Mann knew that this must change, and he pushed for common schools. With common schools being the logical conclusion, it's good to know that there are some common ideas of this movement that we should understand. Number one, state and local government is taxing citizens to support public schools for all. Two, education was necessary to build a republic, and schools must be available to all children regardless of financial ability. Three, schools could be a place to teach moral and ethical values as well as build national identity. And four, students need better conditions, improved resources and textbooks, and trained teachers in order to learn. In his famous quote, Horace Mann said, "Education, then, beyond all other devices of human origin, is the great equalizer of the conditions of men. It is the balance wheel of the social machinery." Mann wholeheartedly abandoned himself to becoming a champion for the common school movement, believing that it was the tool to improve and equalize society. Point number three, Mann's legacy still has an impact today, and we can see that beginning with Eisenhower in the 1950s with the National Defense Education Act, which established federal funding for higher education and low-cost student loans. And in Johnson, 1965, with the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, related to Head Start and Title I funds, which emphasized equal access to education and providing federal funding to schools in poor communities. Reagan in 1983 with the Nation at Risk report, which was very similar to Mann's report when he went out in 1837. This report described how the school system was failing to effectively educate students and called for evaluation of teacher pay, increased school rigor, and new standards. And Clinton in 1994 with Goals 2000. These set national goals for education, including school readiness, completion, achievement, and citizenship. In 2004, Bush's No Child Left Behind, now known as Every Student Succeeds Act, mandated standards-based education with measurable goals to improve outcomes, and this funding to the states was based on their compliance. And finally, Obama in 2009, his race to the top. In order for America to lead in the 21st century, every student must have the best education possible, from preschool to career. And in this initiative, he gave $4 billion to 19 states in order to accomplish this. So I'll leave you with this thought. Horace Mann said that we should be ashamed to die until we have won some victory for humanity. So as you look forward to stepping into your own classroom, do not forget to glance behind and know that our next steps have been made possible by the hard-won strides of many who came before us, like Horace Mann.